Welcome. This is Mac the Teach, born in V Beach. We're ready to kick off the NFL football season. Starts first week of September. We have obviously a few more preseason games. It's August the 16th. I launched my website basically yesterday. We're working on it. We're going to be adding videos basically every week. And today, what I'm going to do is show you exactly how my model works. So here it is. I'm not going to copy and paste. I'm not going to show you that because it's very simple to do. But what I do is I basically go to one website over here. If I can find it. Come on. Come on. On this one website, I use BetOnline AG. Lately, I've heard some rumors that some of the overseas sports books are not doing as well. They're holding up payment and stuff like that. I don't know how true that is. I'm trying to keep most of my stuff stateside, but I love this site. I use this site too. So anyway, I go to this site. I basically view all the games, and I copy and paste all those games into my model. Only takes me a second to do. So I copy and paste. I create a little sheet called 2024 Week 1 Games. Okay, so I copied and pasted, and it looks nice and clean. Got all the games from first week, starting with the Ravens and the Chiefs on down. I'm wearing my Mac to Teach Pittsburgh Steelers colors today. My son and I went to Steelers minicamp about a week ago. So anyway, I've copied and pasted all these games in. Now I got to create my data sheet. Data is absolutely crucial with what we're doing. You have to have pure data. Anytime your data gets corrupted, it's over. Okay? So data is a very important thing, and it's really hard to go back and recreate data. When you go back to recreate data, it's hard to find. I actually was going to exchange data with one guy on the website, but he had already corrupted his own data. He had already manipulated, and I want everything to be pure because my system picks games based on the same data that Vegas is seeing at the same time. Okay, so I'll talk about that a little bit more later. So I come to this. I got macros in the background. I hit initialize one. Now what this is doing, this is going to take a minute, so I'm just going to talk about this. What this is doing is it's going out onto websites and grabbing and collecting all sorts of data. It's collecting the average attempts. As you can see, maybe you can't see, it's probably too small, but the average attempts when you go past, and completion rate. It talks about points scored, points allowed, all of those type of things. And it puts it in a nice, easy format that I can look at. So what it's doing is it's going out all these websites right now and grabbing all the data. It's going to take a minute. Now, again, this is very important. Data has to be pure. Secondly, what really was tough on me recently is the site I was using for data went bankrupt. They no longer are active. And so I had to go and find additional sites and figure out how I was going to make sure that those additional sites, which are constructed completely different, will put the data where I want. Frequently asked questions. Let me go over this while this runs. One, how do I account for injuries? I can't. And so you got to be really careful about it. The only injury that I throw the game out for is college football quarterback. For the NFL, I keep it. Why? The NFL backup QBs seem to be game day. I mean, they're there for a reason, and they're fighting to put food on the table. That's a big deal. So I keep those games. Now, what else was I going to say? Another ask: how do I account for weather? I really can't. Over and unders, I do try to throw out games if it rains or it's very windy, because those type of games have a tendency to go under it, and you can't have an overbet. So if I generate an overbet on the NFL or an overbet in college, just check the weather. You don't have to bet the game. It's going out to other websites now and grabbing all of those type of things. Actually, it should grab all the data from all the websites that I need. Another frequently asked question: what happens if the teams change year to year? Well, guess what? I'm collecting the data fresh. By the way, with that being said, I start betting week 4. So I'm going to produce these picks, but these are based on last year's team. As a Steeler fan, obviously we didn't score a whole lot of points last year, hopefully Russell Wilson and Justin Fields gets their act together, and I think we were a lot better team than whatever we finished. 10-7. Okay. Anyway, another frequently asked question. Trying to think of what they always ask me. Betting strategy. Here's what I do. I'm going to generate for the NFL two types of bets. Well, two rankings of bets. I actually generate all 6 types. I generate overs, unders, home minus the points, away minus the points, away plus the points, and home plus the points. Okay, those are the 6 type of bets. Now, I give them a star rating, 5 or 3 star. With college basketball, people were asking me to do it, and so I decided to try to shift into the NFL. So anyway, this is taking a little longer than I thought it would, and I apologize. But we're almost done. So it's collecting the data. Another frequently asked question. I don't know. I'm trying to think. 3 and 5 star games are what generated. I think you should bet 3% of your bankroll on the 3-star games and up to 5% on the 5-star games. Okay, it looks like we've got it. We are complete. And now it's time to move. Now it's time to initialize the second. And what this second initialization is doing is it's basically creating a bunch of new sheets, putting all the data where I want it in a neat format. Okay, and here are the picks. Okay, now it's saved and everything's ready to go. If you notice, now this is an important screen that I always need to go to. Okay, what this screen does is basically compares the Vegas name to the stat name. Notice I have Baltimore Ravens versus Baltimore. All the stuff in the yellow is the most important stuff, but I got to make sure these match up. This is really not that big of an issue for the NFL or the NBA because there's only 32 teams. But when you get college basketball or you get to college football even, you have over 120 teams college football, so you got to be really careful. And sometimes the names aren't matched up because that happened to me last year in college basketball. St. Peter's basketball team decided to change, or the website changed, to St. Peter's apostrophe S. That threw, and I ended up grabbing the wrong statistics from those teams. So anyway, I got that, so I check, do a quick visual. I go through each game, making sure everything's okay. Use of the spreads, I have to convert these, which are strings of words, to actual numbers, minus 3.5, and I do that behind the scenes. Pretty complex. Okay, now this is what you're looking at. Hopefully you can see. Maybe you're trying to make it, should we make it a little bit bigger? Yeah, let's make it based on the percent. So these are the data names. These are the matchups. Everything is based on z-scores. My z-score here, this bell curve produces a z-score. That's what this is supposed to be behind the scenes. It's not a roller coaster, even though we're probably going to be on a roller coaster ride this season. But notice Baltimore is here. Baltimore averaged 27.7 points last season. Again, these are last year's stats. The average team scores 22.47. That's what the average team scores. So they have a positive z-score of 1.0. Now I take these z-scores, and I have some proprietary stuff that I'm not going to get into, but I take these z-scores, that's Baltimore, and these z-scores, this is all Kansas City, the top line. It has a pass ratio, total plays. All of that comes into account when you're trying to predict the over-under. But what makes my system unique? Why do I think I can win? Well, after I grab all this data, I generate, look at the pink if you can see it, these two columns. I generate a predicted total. Yes, I understand that Baltimore and Kansas City is 22-22, but that's what they did last year. Okay? Obviously, it's not going to end that way, but that's the first step, is to say, this team's going to score this amount of points, this team's going to score this amount of points. Again, these numbers are reflective of last season, not of what they have today. Then I compare. 22 and 22 equals 42 projected point total, which comes here. Vegas has it at 46.5 with a 3-point spread. Notice the 3-point is minus 3. Typically, a home team gets 3 points. So Vegas believes it's a tie also. They basically are saying these two teams are roughly the same So we're just going to give 3 points for the home team. Okay, so it generates a predicted total. I'm sliding all the way over. Then I adjust my z-scores. It's my proprietary stuff. I move some z-scores up and I move some z-scores down depending on who they're playing. This is how I use strength of schedule. That's another frequent question. Strength of schedule is basically who have you played in the past? And so I can't track strength of schedule as well as I'd like, so I use Vegas's odds against that. So finally, it generates projected score, looks at my spread differential of what I think is going to happen, compares it to Vegas, and tells you whether to bet it or not. So here we go. So on the overbets, only came up with one, it looks like. An overbet of Arizona Buffalo. That's an overbet. Unders, it didn't come up with any unders this week. Sometimes that happens. Away minus, didn't come up with those. Home minus, away plus, and home plus. Now, statistically, on another video, I'm going to explain my success rate. I started this in 2009. Big-time roller coaster. But as of 2021, the last 2 or 3 years, things keep tightening up and things keep getting better. A misconception, I think. I am not trying to judge if Vegas is right. I'm trying to judge where my model is stronger than Vegas. Because Vegas has to produce a line that both sides are going to match up or pretty close. So I don't have to do that. I'm looking at the strengths and weaknesses on my model. And how do I do that? I basically go summary data. I compare all the summary data. I have 3-star and 5-star, all the summary data of all the teams the last few years. And here it is. This predicted these games. How do you read this? Spread bets are obviously, you can see the word spread, and over-unders are on the right. You read it basically, if it's black, I decided to add that feature. If it's black, it means stay away from it. It's too close. So it has the Pittsburgh-Atlanta game, a 5-star bet. Now, I wouldn't touch that bet because you don't know. These two teams are completely different. Obviously, you got Kirk Cousins and you got either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields playing, so who knows. The Giants versus Minnesota. Minnesota just lost J.J. McCarthy. I don't know who's going to actually play for them. New Orleans versus Carolina, 5-star. But again, the first 3 weeks, I'm really just collecting data. But I wanted to show you how the system works, how it generates the data, how it generates how it generates the system, how it generates the data, and then how it generates the overall pick. I will go into other things later on. Just want to thank you for stopping in on my website. We're going to go over some of the important stuff a little bit later. All right, enjoy.